Imagine your life is perfect in every respect. What would it look like? Tracy. Brian Tracy is the CEO of a company that provides sales and leadership training and seminars to Fortune 500 companies and private groups. Mr. Tracy asks you to imagine your perfect life, not because he wants you to waste a bunch of time just dreaming, but because he wants you to really take the time to sit down and think about what your ideal mental picture of a life would be if everything you wanted came true. What are the things that will truly make you happy, so that you can narrow down on the things that you want and need to pursue for happiness versus what other people think you should want and need to be happy. For example, I come from a family of super high achievers. My parents have always been very competitive in everything that they do, to the point that at times it's made it very hard for us as their children to stand in their shadows. I used to want to try and emulate them, to try and force myself to follow the path that they took in life, step by step in their shoes, because I didn't understand that the things that I wanted that they had would lead me down a very different path. It wasn't the jobs that they had, their education levels, their income levels, or their specialized skill sets that made them people I wanted to emulate. It was the happiness that they had from having clear ideas of what their ideal lives would look like, and then taking the paths that made sense to them in order to pursue that life of happiness. I wanted the happiness that they have, the confidence that they have to pick a path and follow it to the end, and to be successful enough at all that I do that what other people think doesn't really bother me or matter to me anymore. I wanted the intangibles of happiness and success, but I foolishly thought that it was the path they took to get there that mattered, not understanding that the path is unique to each person. The end goals are unique to each person. In order to achieve those intangibles of success, happiness, love, and respect. It took me 36 years to figure this out, and right now I feel like I'm a small child learning to crawl again. But I'm happier than I've ever been because I know that I am crawling, walking, running, and eventually sprinting to what I need to achieve that happiness and success now, on my own path. How do I plan to apply Mr. Tracy's words? I sat down this morning and took 20 minutes to think about the things in my life that truly make me happy, the things in life that I want to do in order to be happier, and what all of those would look like together. I sat down with a piece of paper and wrote out what a typical day in my perfect life would look like, from the moment I woke up to the moment that I went to bed. And then I decided to use a training system that I was taught in the Army about training other soldiers, called the crawl, walk, run training method. When you're a soldier and you're teaching another soldier a skill set in the Army, you break it down into manageable chunks that get more complex and difficult until that training session is up to the Army standard. For example, when you're learning as a group how to enter and clear buildings of bad guys, the crawl phase is a classroom phase where you're taught the terms, strategies, and situations to employ them. You learn all the different methods of entering and clearing, how to stack up in a group, how to watch your sector, how to do all the various things that are important to this particular skill set. You go through a very in-depth, boring classroom section. We call it Death by PowerPoint, but it works. It teaches you the thought processes behind it. Now, the second part of the crawl phase is once you are done with the classroom section, you start going through what they call a glass house training situation. Basically what we do is we take these lengths of cloth tape and we lay them out in big squares to simulate a house with different rooms and buildings and things like that. And then we start going through what we just learned in the classroom at super slow speeds, no weapons, just going through the motions and getting your mind and body used to the repetition of the actions. After you've done this for a little while, you progress into the walk phase of the training system, which is where you continue combining all of these methods and movements together in real world, but now instead of going at super slow speeds, you're going at half speed. You're wearing your full combat gear. You may be even using an actual M4 or what we call a rubber ducky, which is a fake M4 that has the same weight as it. You may be using sim rounds, which is like the Army's version of paintball as well. But you're still going through at half speed. There's no danger. It's still training. And you're doing it just like you would in the real world in order to bring you up to speed. Once you've done that satisfactorily and you've passed all the required points for the walk phase, then you move into the final portion of your training, which is the run phase. This is usually a full speed iteration that culminates in live fire exercises after you've done the crawl and walk phases to the point where all your skills are well honed. So what this might be is, depending upon how it's being done, is it may be a full speed exercise with live quote-unquote combatants, usually trainers inside the building, and you may have either blanks or you may have target dummies inside and you're doing it with live ammunition. This is the very final step. This is where you take it as real as it can possibly be without it being actual combat, and it's where you show your perfection of the various skill sets that you've been taught. That's the final section. So for example, taking that training style and applying it to my own life, my crawl phase is increasing my income level to $40,000 a year through self-employment, getting my weight back down to 190 pounds, the weight that I was at in the military, and spending as much time as I need to spend every single day to meet my goals. My walk phase, which will be the phase after I accomplish the first set of goals that I have set, is going to be increasing my income level from $40K a year to $150K a year while self-employed. Begin purchasing rental properties. Purchase a piece of land in the Adirondack Mountains that will have access to fiber optic internet. After getting back down to a healthy weight, begin doing more in-depth physical training to get military fit again. And finally, begin hiring employees to handle portions of my workload to lower the hours needed to keep progressing towards my goals. The run phase for me will be reaching $500,000 a year in income while self-employed, owning a portfolio of rental properties that can maintain my and my wife's needs without any other income sources if needed. For example, say I pass away. She could then sell off all of my active businesses, continue allowing the rental properties to be managed by a management company, and still be able to live off of the cash flow income off of that. Completing a build out on my property for a smaller, more self-sufficient outdoor life. I miss that. I had a lot of that growing up, and right now I live in an apartment in the middle of Syracuse, New York, and I want to get back out into the country. Not because I see myself as, a hippie farmer or Mr. Super Uber redneck or anything like that. It's just I feel more comfortable in rural areas. I feel more comfortable being out in nature and being able to enjoy that part of ourselves that we've had for thousands of years that only recently has started to go away. I want to compete in difficult physical challenges throughout the year to keep challenging myself, such as Ironman competitions and things like that. And then the last portion of that is that the company that I have hired employees for, my company, I want it to be built up and known to be such a great company to work for that people are competing over positions, and that when they get hired to work for me, they stay until they retire or until they move on to better opportunities. I want my place to be something that is different from every other company that's out there, and to be able to actually provide more than a facade of security so that they can have peace of mind and be able to focus on helping me grow my dreams and goals while still being safe to do whatever they're doing on the side as well. What do you think Mr. Tracy's words mean? Do you agree with my take on it, or did you find some other message in his words? How would you lay out your plan for the future, and what would your perfect life look like in every respect? You should probably sit down and write that out and think about it, and then let me know in the comment section down below, if you did, what your perfect life looks like and how you would plan it out. You can even use the crawl, walk, run method if you want, and then just kind of lay it out. Get things clear in your head so you know where you are, where you want to be, and the steps you're going to take from A to C to get there. If you found this video helpful and would like to keep seeing more like it in the future, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, as we are putting out a new video every morning at 6 a.m. And if you'd like to be reminded to tune in for your daily dose of getting your head right, make sure you hit that bell icon that turns on notifications, as this lets YouTube know that you want to be informed every time a new video drops. Thanks for listening, folks. Now get out there and attack your day.